The United States and Iran have agreed in principle for the first time to one-on-one negotiations over Iran's nuclear program, according to Obama administration officials, setting the stage for what could be a last-ditch diplomatic effort to avert a military strike on Iran. Iranian officials have insisted that the talks wait until after the presidential election, the senior administration official said, telling their American counterparts that they want to know with whom they would be negotiating. News of the agreement, the result of intense, secret exchanges between American and Iranian officials that date. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Almost to the beginning of President Obama's term, comes at a critical moment in the presidential contest, just 2 weeks before Election Day and the weekend before the final debate, which is to focus on national security and foreign policy. It has the potential to help Mr. Obama make the case that he is nearing the diplomatic breakthrough in the decade-long effort by the world's major powers to curb Iran's nuclear ambitions, but it could pose a risk if Iran is seen as using the prospect of the direct talks to buy time. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. It is also far from clear that Mr. Obama's opponent, Mitt Romney, would go through with the negotiations should he win the election. Mr. Romney has repeatedly criticized the president as showing weakness on Iran and failing to stand firmly with Israel against the Iranian nuclear threat. The White House denied that a final agreement had been reached. It's not true that the United States and Iran have agreed to one-on-one talks or any meeting after the American elections, Tommy Vietor, a White House spokesman, said Saturday evening. He added, however, that the administration was open to such. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Talks, and has said from the outset that we would be prepared to meet bilaterally. Reports of the agreement have circulated among a small group of diplomats involved with Iran. There is still a chance the initiative could fall through, even if Mr. Obama is re-elected. Iran has a history of using the promise of diplomacy to ease international pressure on it. In this case, American officials said they were uncertain whether Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, had signed off on the effort. The American understandings have been reached with senior Iranian officials. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. To report to him, an administration official said. Even if the two sides sit down, American officials worry that Iran could prolong the negotiations to try to forestall military action and enable it to complete critical elements of its nuclear program, particularly at underground sites. Some American officials would like to limit the talks to Iran's nuclear program, one official said, while Iran has indicated that it wants to broaden the agenda to include Syria, Bahrain and other issues that have bedeviled relations between Iran and the United States since the American hostage crisis in 1979. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. We've always seen the nuclear issue as independent, the administration official said, speaking on the condition of anonymity because of the delicacy of the matter. We're not going to allow them to draw a linkage. The question of how best to deal with Iran has political ramifications for Mr. Romney as well. While he has accused Mr. Obama of weakness, he has given few specifics about what he would do differently. Moreover, the prospect of one-on-one negotiations could put Mr. Romney in an awkward spot, since he has opposed allowing Iran to. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Enrich uranium to any level, a concession that experts say will probably figure in any deal on the nuclear program. Beyond that, how Mr. Romney responds could signal how he would act if he becomes commander-in-chief. The danger of opposing such a diplomatic initiative is that it could make him look as if he is willing to risk another American war in the Middle East without exhausting alternatives. It would be unconscionable to go to war if we haven't had such discussions, said Archelaus Burns, who led negotiations with Iran. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. As Under-Secretary of State in the George W. Bush administration, Iran's nuclear program is the most difficult national security issue facing the United States, Mr. Burns said, adding, while we should preserve the use of force as a last resort, negotiating first with Iran makes sense. What are we going to do instead? Drive straight into a brick wall called war in 2013, and not try to talk to them? The administration, officials said, has begun an internal review at the State Department, the White House and the Pentagon to determine what the "thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. The United States' negotiating stance should be, and what it would put in any offer. One option under consideration is more restrictions on Iran's enrichment activities in return for more easing of sanctions. Israeli officials initially expressed an awareness of, and openness to, a diplomatic initiative. But when asked for a response on Saturday, Israel's ambassador to the United States, Michael B. Oren, said the administration had not informed Israel, and that the Israeli government feared Iran would use new talks to advance their nuclear weapons program. "We do not think "thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Iran should be rewarded with direct talks, Mr. Oren said, rather that sanctions and all other possible pressures on Iran must be increased. Direct talks would also have implications for an existing series of negotiations involving a coalition of major powers, including the United States. These countries have imposed sanctions to pressure Iran over its nuclear program, which Tehran insists is for peaceful purposes but which Israel and many in the West believe is aimed at producing a weapon. Dennis B. Ross, who oversaw Iran policy for the White House until early 2012, says "thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. One reason direct talks would make sense after the election is that the current major power negotiations are bogged down in incremental efforts, which may not achieve a solution in time to prevent a military strike. Mr. Ross said the United States could make Iran an endgame proposal, under which Tehran would be allowed to maintain a civil nuclear power industry. Such a deal would resolve, in one stroke, issues like Iran's enrichment of uranium and the monitoring of its nuclear facilities. Within the administration, there is debate over just how much uranium the United "thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. States would allow Iran to enrich inside the country. Among those involved in the deliberations, an official said, are Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton, two of her deputies, William J. Burns and Wendy Sherman, and key White House officials, including the National Security Advisor, Tom Tonilon, and two of his lieutenants, Dennis Armstrong and Garrett Samri. Iran's capacity to enrich uranium bears on another key difference between Mr. Obama and Mr. Romney: whether to tolerate Iran's enrichment program short of producing the nuclear weapon, as long as inspectors can keep a close eye. "Thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. On it, versus prohibiting Iran from enriching uranium at all. Obama administration officials say they could imagine some circumstances under which low-level enrichment might be permitted. Mr. Romney has said that would be too risky. But Mr. Romney's position has shifted back and forth. In September, he told ABC News that his red line on Iran was the same as Mr. Obama's, that Iran may not have a nuclear weapon. But his campaign later edited its website to include the line, Mitt Romney believes that it is unacceptable for Iran to possess nuclear weapons capability. "Thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. For years, Iran has rejected one-on-one talks with the United States, reflecting what experts say are internal power struggles. A key tug-of-war is between President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad and Ali Larijani, Iran's former nuclear negotiator and now the chairman of the parliament. Iran, which views its nuclear program as a vital national interest, has also shied away from direct negotiations because the ruling mullahs did not want to appear as if they were sitting down with a country they have long demonized as the Great Satan. But economic pressure may "thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Be forcing their hand. In June, when the major powers met in Moscow, American officials say that Iran was desperate to stave off the crippling European oil embargo. After that failed, these officials now say Iranian officials delivered a message that Tehran would be willing to hold direct talks. In New York in September, Mr. Ahmadinejad hinted at the reasoning. Experience has shown that important and key decisions are not made in the U.S. leading up to the national elections, he said. The senior American official said that the prospect of direct talks is "thank you for trying" verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Why there has not been another meeting of the major powers group on Iran? In the meantime, pain from the sanctions has deepened. Iran's currency, the rial, plummeted 40% in early October.